Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. Today is Wednesday, January the 30th, 2013. We'll be looking at the NASDAQ today. Not a lot new that I can tell you. We have seen some selling in the markets here in the U.S. today, and we saw a little bit in Europe. So maybe something starting here. You can see we had a better size selling than we have had in the past days of this little rally that we believe is false and it's a fake rally, unsustainable. So you're starting to see that increase. So that may catch your attention. But for me to mark this chart at this point and say, okay, then start selling here with the stop off this high right here, all that is just my best guess at where you might start to call a top. And the thing you need to know about that is whenever you're in an uptrend, being that you have higher series of highs and higher series of lows, whenever you try to call a top, that's a very risky situation and you're not going to be right very often. So keep that in mind, and that's why I'm not marking this chart. Once we start to get a series of lower highs and lower lows, then I'll be quick to mark just opportunities to sell. But right now we're still just kind of floating to the upside there. But like I said, I believe this entire rally is bogus, and the higher it goes, the more BS it becomes. Right down here, you'll see that you're seeing an increase on the sell side here and here. The higher we go, the more people are starting to take profit, because this is not a sustainable situation. This is being created by, as I mentioned before, it happened that this entire rally here would happen because of fourth quarter earnings. Well, fourth quarter earnings comes to an ending eventually, and then you have what? You have to pull back. So eventually you get to pull back. So whenever you look at this scenario, don't be confident that you're going to buy and hold, close your eyes and go to Disney World and come back and make $1 million. It's just not going to happen that way. You're going to have a market that's going to pull back. Another thing I want to draw your attention to, and this is something that's really bothering me, I've talked about it before. Let me just move on up here. You can see this overall move that I've been mentioning is not forming properly, and that is because of all these gaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. That's important, because whenever I see that, it reminds me of something that I'll show you in a moment. The main thing here, whenever you're looking at this rally, is you have to analyze the momentum to the upside. Is this a sustainable rally, or is this an overall chart pattern that's looking like a bearish wedge? I believe it's looking like a bearish wedge, and I want out of it. I'm not in this at all. I've been stopped out as of this point, and I'm just sitting around watching. Right now, I'm looking at this price activity that we see, high point here, current close at this point area, and then you can see that she trended down that entire time period and continues to trend down, the momentum oscillator here. Yet prices continue to trend up. That creates a bearish divergence, meaning all of this is unsustainable. It eventually gets wiped out, which means we fill all of these gaps. This is not something new to us. This is something we've been using for a very long time. Let's go back and show you one more time period when we had the exact same scenario. Okay, this is a look at the NASDAQ going back all the way to 2007, the start of 2008. Here's December of 07, so the start of 2008. And you can see, well, actually, I'll go over here. And you can see in this particular scenario here on the NASDAQ at that time period, you had gap, gap, gap. 8 of them just kept going and going and going. The market just continued to rally, getting overbought on the ultimate oscillator, and the market just continued to rally to the upside. And I told you guys at that time period, and I've mentioned it several times, whenever we see this particular pattern, this is not sustainable. And I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it every single time it happens. Whenever you get this scenario, you may come back and fill a couple of them like you saw at this particular situation, and then you start doing it again, making more gaps, just adding them right back in. All that means this entire rally here is unsustainable. It's going to turn around and fail, and it failed big. This is something that I'm thinking that we could see again going into 2013, because we're seeing the same formation. I have no reason to believe otherwise, and so I'm very cautious this market, and I want everybody out there to really analyze their positions and ask yourself, are you willing to hold, do a massive correction, because I believe we have one on the horizon. If you've not been to the free website at PerfectStockAlert.com, it's right there. It's 100% free, and all we ask in return, please refer a friend. Thank you very much for you guys' support. God bless. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.